Hi, my friend. Welcome to the Bounce Back Black Woman podcast. I'm Dell, and I've overcome some of the most devastating heartbreaks I could ever have imagined. Do you find yourself stuck in sadness after a broken heart, asking God, why me? Well, I'm here to help women just like you heal and build the resilience to overcome life's greatest hurts. If you long for joy and confidence again, this podcast is for you. So grab your headphones and those heartbreaks. Let's talk. Hey there, my friend. Last time we unpacked how painful it can be when someone else's choices, especially when they don't line up with our expectations, can lead to heartbreak. We talked about how that pain isn't always about betrayal, but sometimes it's about the slow, silent ache of watching someone walk away from what could have been. And today, we're taking that conversation a step further. Because once the disappointment sets in, once you realize they might never become the version of themselves that you desperately believed in, or hoped for, or prayed for, what do you do with that? And that's where we're headed in today's episode. I can't fix them, making peace with someone else's journey. I mentioned last time that this idea came from a weekend away with my sorority sisters, where one deep conversation around the patio table cracked open a truth that I've been sitting with ever since. The phrase, I just keep hoping they'll change. And while that conversation planted the seed for this message, I've seen this same heartbreak show up in very many forms. Watching someone stay in a toxic relationship and knowing you want more for them. Loving someone through addiction or substance abuse and knowing that it's breaking you into pieces. Holding space for someone who keeps sabotaging their future by flunking out, quitting jobs, and burning bridges, and you know they're capable of so much more. And there you are, left asking, what more can I say? What else can I do? How much more can I pray? My friend, if that's where you are right now, I see you. Know that I've been you. See, I grew up in a violent household, and over again, I experienced the heartbreak of watching my mother repeatedly allow herself to be emotionally, physically, and mentally abused. Even as a child, I had to fight the urge to want to tell her that we should leave. And even if I'd done that, chances are that she still wouldn't have done it. Hearing it and having the means, the strength, the resolve to actually do it are two completely different things. And so I want to talk about what it means to let go of the outcome that you're so desperately hoping for. Not out of bitterness, but out of love. Not out of spite, but out of peace. Not out of disappointment, but out of an understanding that it is not your battle to fight. Letting go says, take the log out of your own eye rather than fixating on the one in mine. For every situation that we desperately want to tell someone else to end, there's a situation, a habit, or an addiction of our own that someone who loves us desperately wants to see come to an end. Let's sit with this phrase for just a minute. Hold them lightly, not tightly. In Ruth chapter 3, we see Naomi coaching Ruth with love and spiritual wisdom, but also with restraint. Naomi gives her guidance and then says, wait, my daughter. She doesn't force the outcome. She doesn't manipulate it. She releases it. And she trusts God with what happens next. And that, my friend, is what letting go looks like. Letting go doesn't mean giving up on someone. Letting go means that you are no longer gripping their growth like it's your assignment. Galatians 6:5 reminds us that each of us must carry our own load. And Proverbs 3:5 and 6, most of us know that one. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. See, we're not called to make someone else's path straight. We're called to surrender what we cannot control. There's a study track in my Women's Daily Study Bible that hit this topic so clearly. And it's titled, "It's Hard Not to Jump In with Advice When I'm Listening to a Friend in Need." How many of us can relate to that? You're sitting there, you're listening to a story, and you're waiting for them to pause so you can jump in with your advice or your perspective or your directive. I'll be honest, and my soror knows this about me. I was struggling in that conversation because I wanted so desperately to step in and help her and fix it. And that was selfish on my part. Because honestly, sitting silently and listening would have been the wisest thing that I could have ever done. Sometimes presence is more powerful than persuasion. Sometimes the most faithful thing we can do is not speak, not fix, not force. Just pray, just trust, just release. This kind of heartbreak is tricky because it doesn't always come with a clear wound, not something we can see in our life changing. It's not one big moment. It's 1,000 little ones. It's every time you showed up with hope and they stayed the same. It's every time you believed in their potential more than they did. It's grief without closure. It's love with nowhere to land. And it hurts because you know what could have been, or at least you think you do. The truth is, only God knows what could have been, and only God knows what will be. Maybe you saw the possibility. Maybe you prayed for the breakthrough, but they kept choosing chaos, or fear, or comfort, or silence. And you are left holding the ache of all that never got to grow. So here are some takeaways for you. Letting go doesn't mean you don't love them. It means you've accepted that their journey isn't yours to walk. It means that you're choosing peace over pressure. It means that you're trusting God with what you cannot control. So I want you to take out your journal. And here's a prompt. I want you to write in it and sit with, and then journal what comes up for you. Who am I trying to carry emotionally? And why do I feel responsible for their growth? And yes, that even counts for your children. Because while you grew them, raised them, cared for them, they are still responsible for their growth. And here's the next prompt. What would it look like to hold them lightly, not tightly? All too often we grip so tightly that the blood can't even move through our hands because we're holding on so tightly to an outcome that we desperately want. What would it look like to hold them lightly and not tightly? So, I hope that this episode met you where you are, friend. And if it stirred something inside of you, I want you to know that discomfort that you're feeling, it's not failure. It's actually clarity. It's moving the needle. It's disrupting your comfortable, uncomfortable place of wanting to change others' reality, of wanting to change others' choices. Remember that you're not weak for letting go. You're wise. And God honors every step that you take toward peace. Don't forget, you can process all of this in your journal, and you can find your people in our Bounce Back Black Woman community now on Facebook in a private group. And you can follow the podcast on whatever platform you listen. That way you'll be assured of getting reminders whenever a new episode comes out. And a spoiler, episodes are slated to come out every Tuesday and Friday for as far as I can see, because we've got a lot of this to handle. But we're not doing it alone, friend, because it's not just me. It's not just you. It's us. Well, that's it for today, my friend. I really hope this episode inspired, encouraged, or just plain comforted you. If so, please share it with a friend who might be struggling in her own healing journey. And if you take a moment to leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts, you'll help other women find encouragement through their heartbreak. Remember that God is holding your hand along this journey, and guess what? I'm holding the other. Life is short, so bounce back, Black woman.